What's up? This is Jay Spruill, movies, music, sports, and life. And we taking a look at Atlanta. Okay, got the volume up where I need it to be. And for this episode, I took notes to go basically line for line with how the story unfolded. So you think with this episode that they're gonna give us a backstage or inside look on how the music industry artists do their thing. But just like the show The Game with the boss lady in blue and Lauren London, they never show those dudes actually playing football. Malik, all them dudes. It's just the relationships and everything behind the scenes. It's like they barely even show them at practice. In this particular situation, we think we about to see Paperboy perform, but they don't show it. But it's real funny that they show Darius just going ham. All the stuff that you would think that he would be doing on stage to be a hype man, he was doing it all behind the curtain. There's something wrong with Darius, man. I know everybody love him, but yeah, Darius a little touch, man, in the head. But being a Milwaukee native, shout out to Giannis Antetokounmpo, 2021 NBA champs. I know we can't rest on that because that was last year, but um, when Paperboy was talking about it being Ghost being on tour at hotels, he said as long as it ain't nothing like in Milwaukee, he said, "Oh, you talking about the rave? Oh man, I told you that the rave was haunted." He said, "Man, that wasn't no ghost. That was just a reflection." But I know a lot of y'all don't know about Milwaukee. Milwaukee is real hood, but the two places that they always had stories about being haunted, we got this place in the hood. It's on 27th in Wisconsin, and as you know, that area of Milwaukee is like right past Marquette University, and it's like right when you kind of go from downtown, and 27th Street is like that imaginary line where you're not downtown no more. Now you in the hood, you know. And the rave used to be just strictly a boxing gym called the Eagles Club. But then they expanded it and they started having like heavy metal bands and rock and roll bands perform there. And eventually, rap and hip hop. But it was always stories about the rave being haunted. It's a very old building. But we also on that same street, ironically, maybe it's something about that street, Wisconsin. We got an old hotel called the Pfister. And the Pfister is so famous for being haunted that it's a lot of baseball players, Major League Baseball and NBA players that refuse to stay there because there was so many sightings and so many stories about what people saw. But not to get off track, I just found it interesting that they referenced that maybe Childish Gambino had an experience at the rave when he performed there. Who knows? Maybe that's how he came up with that. But very key part, y'all might have saw my 8-minute rant on Van's behavior. So Earn did something that is very real, or maybe I should say the actor, Donald Glover, did something that's very real. He was texting her, and his first three words was WTF. What the fluck? But what did he say? He says something like, "It's been 6 days. Are you good?" And then he decided to take the anger off, because WTF is in all caps. He just left that phrase off altogether, and then just said, "Are you good? It's been 6 days." And true to form, she did not respond. So there's been some theories out here that Van is actually deceased. Because she walked through a telephone pole, on one of the episodes, and some people noticed it. But if she's not deceased, something is just. I'm kind of not enjoying the show and not enjoying the season. I know it sounds petty and it kind of sounds like a spoiled brat, but I don't want to be in this much mystery about what's going on. It's like frustrating. It's like I feel like, man, you only got 10 episodes at the most. 9, 10 episodes. Like tonight, this is episode 5, so it's like we halfway done with season 3, and we still, it's not really making any sense what's happening with Van. So at least they gave us a quote-unquote Easter egg of what's going on with her, and it appears when it comes to Earn, nothing. Paperboy's backstage with a kid. They called it the Dream Foundation. That was just a send-off of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And it was a young kid, I guess his dying wishes to kick it with Paperboy, so his mom and dad were back there with him. He gave him a 40-ounce to take into the audience. I thought that was crazy. A little bit stereotypical. You might as well gave him some watermelon and some chicken. Gonna give a Hungarian boy a 40-ounce. Then Paperboy is attempting to dialogue and chop it up with his cousin, Earn. And Earn seems disinterested and preoccupied with doing the sound checks. He has on a device similar to my device, and he's checking with the stage people and stuff like that. And Paperboy says, "Are you good? I feel I ain't hollered at you in a while." He said, "Oh yeah, man, I've been busy." He said, "Yeah, it seemed like you're always busy." I thought that was kind of profound, because if you remember, in season 2, Al was ready to fire Earn because he felt like he was along the ride. He was along for the ride just because he was his cousin, but he really wasn't earning the position. And he felt that there was some better managers out there who he could work with. And now we have flipped it all the way to the point where Paperboy feels like Earn does his job too well and is very involved, but it doesn't seem like Paperboy is feeling any love or connection to his cousin. And it just kind of shows you that if you're famous and making a lot of money, you could still be lonely and unhappy because everything is just business and you don't have anybody who you can just be your regular self with. All you do is out here chasing SoundCloud and YouTube dreams to be a rapper. Just keep that in mind. So somebody popped on stage. They didn't know who it was. Then they realized the phone is missing. Paperboy has a cell phone with a solid gold case. He noticed that it's gone. And the first person that they accuse or think might have done it is the cancer patient, the Dream Foundation kid that was backstage. And of course, he didn't have it. They asked one of the building supervisors, and he says that the person was on stage was his nephew. He says, "Well, can you text him?" He said, "I don't have his number." You know how Earn is. "You don't have your nephew's number?" Hey, isn't that what he just said? No, he doesn't have it. Um, but they end up finding the nephew and the guy that was on stage. Ironically, his name is Wiley. The reason that that's somewhat relevant is because Dizzy Rascal was one of the most popular rappers like back in the day, like 98, 99, 2000. And he's from London, but one of his best friends and fellow artists, his name was Wiley. So I don't know if they did that on purpose, but seems like since they are overseas in Europe rapping, that they keep throwing little European, well, not little, they keep throwing European rappers' names back at us, maybe to educate us or maybe as some form of fan service to the people who know who all these cats are. Um, so it's almost like they interrogating or interviewing Wiley about his phone, and he knew some lyrics to some songs that Paperboy claimed that he didn't release. And he says, hey, can you call this number for me? 404. And after he spit out the rest of the number and they blanked it out, Paperboy snapped. He said, that's my number! N-word? So they want to kill this dude. Sock says, I'm so mad I could kill this. No. He didn't let it come out of his mouth. And you kind of got a question, too. What kind of street time is Darius, Earn, and Paperboy on that they let Socks with the messed up hairline become their road manager? Like, you know, you just met him at a party and then he just decided to become your Uber without y'all asking. Now you got him on tour. Like, that's a little bit too trusting. Earn and Paperboy decide to do the time-tested, the old routine, bad cop, good cop. And it doesn't work, so Paperboy just says, just let me talk to him by myself. And Paperboy employs the tactic of opening up to the young man, kind of weaving his life story into why he needs his phone back. And the young dude Wiley plays a song for him on his guitar, thanks him for meeting with him, and he dips out to the point that Paperboy knew this dude don't have my phone. At some point, Socks has the phone. They show the gold case in his hand. Well, I don't got a gold case. I got a basketball on the back of mine. And then he throws Paperboy's phone in the garbage. Gets back on the tour bus. I don't know about y'all, but I was like, what was the point of this episode? You know, it did have some funny moments, but sometimes I think Donald Glover and those guys, they try too hard to be artsy fartsy and outside of the box. They go so outside of the box sometimes you wouldn't even think a box is there anymore. You wouldn't even realize what's the point of the show. You know, when they do episodes like this, you're like, what's the point of the show? But no, they can't all be good, but hey, you see what it is. Peachtree. I support Atlanta and Donald Glover, even if I don't think the episodes are the best. Which the last two for me is kind of a dip off from the first three. But I'm not going to complain, because I'm going to be here next week reviewing it again. Hit the like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Because we out of here.